So we're at Infinity Games in Adelaide. They put on a short 3-round Swiss tournament, which I was lucky enough to be in town for and entered. I'm on the left there, and we've got Ethan on the right. This is the final round of the three, and we're both tied for first with 6 prestige each. So this will be one of the games that can possibly decide who ends up winning the tournament. So we've got Ethan playing Blue Sun, and I'm playing Andromeda.
I'm down for Christmas nowadays. You want to flip for it? Sure, yeah, I'll go red.
I think we're just flipping to decide who picks first, and Ethan's going Corp first, and I'm going Runner.
Well, you've been going alright. Only reason I got Burbs because he had jank deck. He whipped.
Blue Sun's made a big comeback for Weyland in the past few weeks since it's been released. Weyland probably the weaker Corp out of the bunch, but with Blue Sun it's probably gone up to one of the better ones. Andy, of course, has always been probably the best since she's been released, and arguably still the best. So shuffling up here and see what I get for my opening hand, and I'll be looking to get a Plascrete. I think I only run one Plascrete, so I'll be happy to see that in my opening hand. And cutting the cards, and away we go. Having a look, I got an account siphon, a mimic, which is always good, a sure gamble, and a dirty laundry. I think I see a sneak door. I think Ethan's mulliganed, but I think I don't mind this hand. I like to see a bit of burst economy as well, and I think I might even have that Plascrete in there. So Ethan not liking his opening hand. I didn't quite see what he got, but and we're away. Yeah, I look pretty happy with my hand. So, and we just see ice on the hand. And install, and didn't quite see the third click button. Sure gamble. Dirty laundry into R&D, and I see the oversight, which is not really what I want to see with Blue Sun. And then thinking about installing a data sucker. That's always great early. I did that around the wrong way. Straight away a mistake. I should have put that data sucker down and got a counter on it from the dirty laundry, but and Ethan's bluffed out of 2-pointer already, so managed to install Katie. So pretty good start for both of us. Didn't really expect him to bluff out a 2-pointer, so that's a pretty good play to take an early 2-point lead. Got a special order and a mimic and a data sucker down, so good parts of my rig already in play, but no desperado just yet. Hitting R&D just to load up the data sucker.
He's scared. Alright, mandatory. Come on, that was all.
Running on Katie.
Yeah, I know, right?
I even got that Plascrete down straight away. Yep. So the Plascrete's down with the dice on there with its four hit points, and oversighting up that curtain wall. So So not a lot I can do about that. Ethan's going to get a handy early 14 credits. I'm just looking at how much it's going to cost, and there's no way I'm going to be able to break that to deny the 14 credits. So Ethan looking pretty good. 2 points and a oversighted curtain wall. And me just pondering what my strategy is going to be from this point. Drawing a card into another special order. Running the hand and no res. Seeing the root. Now I hate the root. So I go ahead and trash it. Now this is a problem. Now I'm left on 2 credits. I don't have enough to install anything. So I'm going to have to throw something out. And I think out of these cards I've got a Mimic, a couple special orders, HQ interface. I think I'm deciding between throwing out the HQ interface and throwing out one of the special orders. Really tough call what to discard. I probably should have just left the root there, because I doubt he would have installed it straight away or resed it straight away, but just don't like the threat of the root getting that early economic advantage if it gets resed. So money on Katie and deciding what to discard. I could have taken the money off Katie and then installed Mimic. That might have been a better play. Kept the 2 special orders in my hand, which would have just given me the full rig that I need later on, because as I recall, I think I struggled to get my rig up later due to discarding that special order. So a few early decisions that have long-term implications on the game. So icing up on R&D, and then oversighting that curtain wall again. So huge economic burst, but at least I've got the plascrete down. It will be difficult to flatline me, but might end up being more of a Glacier Weyland build, which is also really effective with Blue Sun. So either way, you've got those 2 really strong win conditions with the Glacier Ice or with the threat of Scorch. So resing an Eli. Now I'm thinking I may be able to land a Siphon in the next turn or so, given that it's just an Eli and I can special order out a Corroder and probably get in there pretty soon. So just thinking about how I want to go ahead and do this, drawing into an R&D interface, which is not going to be too useful with that big curtain wall in front, but getting the Mimic out of my hand and loading up Katie. So bouncing that big wall back for the money. It's got a ton of money there. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 credits. That's huge. And then ice back onto R&D. And an install. Not looking good for me. No cheap access available, and a huge economic disadvantage at the moment, so well behind the 8 ball. Loading up Katie, looking for some money it looks like, and Ethan with the Jackson. Let's see what he draws into. I think he's got an Architect.
2 I'll play lag time.
And playing out that current.
3 I'll play over archives. Alright.
That current gives all his ice extra strength until I manage to score, so looks like 12 credits on Katie, so I've got a bit of cash up my sleeve. A couple of data suckers and a Mimic, so I'm fairly safe against most sentries. There's always the threat of Archer, but most people don't like to give up 2 points to to res Archer, and you don't always see Archer in Blue Sun. So I'm obviously thinking about getting rid of that Jackson, also thinking about just getting some econ and maybe planning to get in with that HQ interface. So Katie Jones up to 15 credits. Ethan down to, looks like 20 plus, can't quite tell. So Ethan installing and icing again. So threatening to score again, and with only the Mimic out, I don't have a good chance of getting into that remote. So dropping my HQ interface, running the Eli, and with the HQ interface I access both cards and snag a 3-pointer and another copy of the root. So I think I'll go ahead and trash that root, making me pretty broke, but $3 suckers and 15 credits on Katie. I get rid of lag time, and not looking too bad on 3 points now. So Ethan restructuring. And he's got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. About 35 credits by the look. Those little one piles, I think they're piles of 5. And a double advanced card sitting there. Taking a credit. Special ordering out a Corroder. I think I'm going to try and get the Siphon in soon. And money on Katie. Back to Ethan. See what this double advanced card is. He's managed to overscore the Atlas, putting up on 4 points with a couple of counters on there, which is pretty huge. But now I've got most of my rig up except for my code gate breaker. I think I'm running Passport and Gordian Blade today. I tend to chop and change from Yogg or Zuki, but Gordian Blade pretty good. Probably my preference at the moment, and looks like I've got 20 credits and 3 sucker tokens and landing a Siphon. And I think I'll just remove those tags and get on with my life. So the money looking a bit more even. 3 points to 4. The game is a little bit more even now. I think I like my chances. Got the Plascreed out. Bit of money in my hand. Now Ethan just considering whether he's going to spend one or both of those Atlas. I think he ends up just using one of those Atlas tokens and grabbing a Enigma, knowing that I don't have my code gate available and knowing that I've already used 2 of my special orders. And I think I trashed 1 special order. So I'm going to have to be able to find that Passport or that Gordian Blade by hand now. I'm not going to be able to tutor for it, so discarding that special order early has come back to haunt me. So installing that code gate and assuming he's got 1 code gate in there to protect his remote, and then moneying up. So 4 deep remote there. I don't like my chances of getting in with no code gate breaker, so I'm thinking I'm going to have to win this game through the central service. So going back in through the Eli, using my 2 data sucker tokens and seeing the root and Jackson Howard. Probably keen to trash both those. Still no Desperado out for me, so Ethan with nothing in his hand to show now. So all the agendas must be in the deck or in the bin. Surely I must be thinking about getting rid of Jackson. I've left him out there far too long. Dropping the RDI, I think. Couldn't quite see. Breaking with Corroder. Just deciding whether he wants to Jackson. Ethan just deciding not to Jackson. So the first card and the second card. Oh, and I score. So going up to match point, I think. 5 points to 4. But Ethan with a nice looking remote and plenty of cash. Plenty of opportunities to score if he can find an agenda. Still got a fair chance of plucking that agenda out of his hand, but there he goes, using that Atlas counter to get one in and double advancing it. Pretty good play.
I'm probably going to be wrong though.
So threatening the win here. Threatening the win, and I do not have my rig ready, so I'm in a lot of trouble. Only 4 or 5 credits, 3 on Katie, and a double advance card. I'm up against the wall. First click going into R&D. I'm on match point myself, so he's Jacksoning to weaken my chances now. Bring in another Jackson, a restructure, and the oversight. Doesn't really matter what they are as long as they're not agendas, and just reducing my chance of getting the win. So accessing 2 for the win. I either win here or Ethan probably wins the next turn with a 3-pointer.
I'm scared of getting one access, like one go. Alright, you want to cut? No, I'm not going to leave down here. One? Oh, it's a 1-pointer. Oh!
First access I score, but it's a 1-pointer. So 6 points and no good on the second run. Running again. Straight back in. No? Still thinking.
Oh my god, the unluckiest.
Used 1 click.
Yeah. Go again. Alright. So I'll spend the 2.
So second click.
Yep. Next one.
Straight back in. Seen that card and nothing on the second card. So it looks like I might end up being stranded on 6 points. With a couple of clicks left. I'm thinking, do I go in the hand or do I go into that face down card in the archives? Would he have been sneaky enough to try and hide one in archives? I'm thinking if I hit an NAPD as well, I don't have enough to steal an NAPD at the moment, so with 2 clicks I might just take Katie and run the hand. taking Katie and then running the hand.
Win. Oh, jeez.
And the final card, just a hive, scores the pry wreck and wins, and then shows me the 1 pointer sitting there that would have put me from 6 to 7. So heartbreaking to see that 1 pointer sitting in archives, but not much chance of getting through that remote. So yeah, well played to Ethan. And Ethan goes on to win this tournament on the strength of schedule. We all end up stuck on 8 points, so great tournament and great experience coming down to Adelaide and meeting all the Adelaide players. So yeah, thanks for everyone at Infinity Games, and thanks for Shannon for organising the tournament. Hope to be back soon.
If you had agendas, you would have used that server.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Either use the server or